Yeah, welcome. And this is Artist Talk with Liz and Marie. Marie Loher and Liz Kueneke.
I might have to come up with a new last name.
So I thought, like, to start, it would be maybe nice if you introduce each other. So you introduce her and you introduce Liz.
I like that.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I don't even know enough to fully introduce you, but that's why you can talk after. I mean, about yourself. Okay.
You start.
Okay. So this is Marie Loher, formerly known as many other names. I first met her as an artist. I went to her first exhibition in her home. So I've been following what she's doing for quite a few years. We had a nice connection a few years ago because she organized such a beautiful event, which was an immersive, I would almost call it an immersive theater experience. She would probably describe it differently, but in the nature of a greenhouse, so amongst plants, where you discover interesting art everywhere and are led by magical beings, and it was just incredible. And I had, in the same week, done something very similar. So we were like, wow, we just have to have a coffee about this. So then she created an art gallery called La Luna Gallery, which was in Siesta, which was going for a few years, which was absolutely gorgeous and just superbly curated and amazing vibes and aesthetic value, everything. And it was right next to where Rosaline's space still is, the art lab. So I went to various exhibitions there. Sometimes it was Marie's work, sometimes, she's been really supporting local artists for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is so beautiful, and now her gallery has gone on to another level. Doesn't have a physical space anymore, but it's online, and she's still supporting women artists in Ibiza and showing all of these artists, and it's
Which you're part of it.
which I'm super happy to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so are some of the other people here today.
That's right.
So that's what I can say for now about Marie and her art.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Liz is an incredible creative mind and big open heart, and she's a pillar of creativity and supporting the arts and love for the arts, really from unconditional space of really bringing that on the island, especially here where there's so much opportunity to really explore and create and play, and I absolutely adore everything you do. And it's super fun. Girls around, playground. And yeah, it's true that I remember that incredible walk you did with Bex. Remember that one? Yeah. It was super inspiring and touching. I actually cried there. It was a moment with where with Annabelle.
Everyone cried for that.
And I thought, oh, this is deeply touching, and the curation of the whole thing was amazing. And like you said, I was doing exactly the same at the same time. So it was beautiful to connect with you on that level. And then all the textile mapping and the kind of integration of other people to express their creativity in your maps. I think it's really giving a platform for inclusion rather than just my own personal work. Here I am, and so I really love that about your work, that you're always including others, which are not necessarily artists. And I love that because we all are artists and we all are creative people, and it's just a matter of playing, and creativity is our actual nature. So I love the fact that you always support that, and everywhere you go you always have this immersive sort of workshop space where people sit, and it's like an active meditation. And yeah, it's really cool to have you and your amazing project of Aqua Scorpio.
Agua-Scorpio.
Exactly. Thank you. I have to say that this is really inspiring that you're mixing mediums of art, bringing an element of movement, of nature, photography, curation into one space. And yeah, and now it's available for the world to be able to experience and buy it. And yeah, I'm excited to present this work in big cities, and inshallah we have a great year ahead with a lot of cool things. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
So the idea was actually to talk about the creative process. When we were here the other time for this piece happening, we were thinking it's like interesting how is the creative process? How does it work? You know. So I was wondering, like, what inspires your work? So, like, what are your influences or experiences?
Sure. I believe that everything is interconnected, and the way you wake up in the morning and what you experience, who you meet, who you talk to, how you feel, how you recreate yourself. Art is life. And so I'm deeply inspired by everyday life, actually, and everything that happens in it, and I weave it into my work. So it's never really disconnected from some form of like, oh, I'm working on a theme and it's sort of like art, and then my life is separate from it. So it's an ongoing process of creativity, and it's very emotional. It's driven by also my connection to meditation and conscious awareness of my connection to creativity and what it is I really want to express. I love color, and I always been curious and really into the vibrational field and color therapy. So I work with that, and with years of working in the, let's say, in creative field of fashion, for example, where I started from, and noticing how color really changes your mood and how you can recharge by putting something on, even, you know, and feeling into it, how it affects us, and looking back to nature and getting real inspiration from there and bringing it back to art. So it's like a conversation, constant conversation of these elements. And I love working with ink. It's my inner Japanese sort of expression, and it's very meditative space of calligraphy and connecting with the water element and working deeper into that space of beingness. So for me, creativity is a way to be present. So that's my biggest inspiration, really. And then meeting amazing women artists or men artists, doesn't matter, or anyone, eating an incredible dinner and feeling the flavors, seeing an incredible plant, and watching a movie, you know, dancing to an incredible sound or song. That's all of it inspires me big time. So it's never really separated from my life, my art.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What about you, Liz?
Yeah, I can also really resonate with the fact that life is art. Every moment can be art. And I've also been, of course, inspired by the things around me. So part of my work is textile work, and that was inspired by my grandmother. So she worked in a fabric shop, and she taught me how to sew. So I've kind of brought in this heritage. She inspired me a lot, and I feel like whenever I'm working with these things, I'm thinking of her. I'm remembering her. So that is extra motivating as well, because sometimes art is also really hard and a struggle, but I feel like having that, I feel like she's behind me, like she's supporting this thing I'm doing. And then about 20 years ago, I moved to Barcelona, and I was just very urban for a while, living in this super urban environment. And that's when I really got into mapping urban spaces. This is where my project, The Urban Fabric, started. And I was just eating, breathing urbanism and city for a while, and I loved it. And then I moved to Ibiza, and I was like, you know what, I have to say, the first quite a few years I was not artistically inspired here. I was so overwhelmed with how the energy and the nature that actually that's all I could focus on. I couldn't make art from it. I was like, it already is just so. And then one day it clicked, and I don't know, somehow I got into that flow, and now everything I do is inspired in the island. So this project of swimming for Agroscopio, so inspired by the landscape, the sea, being in the sea, and then this prickly pear cactus collective, so we're inspired in what's happening to the prickly pears on the island, the plague that's happening. So literally everything that's around me. I'm so happy to live in Santa Eulalia, where I can now walk to the sea. So because now swimming is my art, and I'm growing prickly pears on my balcony. So it's like I'm surrounded, and then embroidering as much as I can too.
Wow, beautiful. And can you describe like your creative process, like in the sense, like, do you have an idea and then you create it, or does it take longer, or like what is it, like the conception? Do you have steps from the conception to the completion? I got some good questions.
I can start.
Yeah.
It starts for me with a feeling, an idea that comes through. It's like in a way, it's an aha moment. It's like something happens, and I'm feeling it. Oh wow! And then I'm like, okay, I need to grab that. What is that? So when that happens, I normally take a pencil and start sketching or writing things down. And I ask questions, because I'm kind of communicating with the creative source, where it comes from, because I really deeply believe that it's not me. And I'm just channeling this from that infinite sort of consciousness. And I ask questions. So what do you want me to actually do with it? Okay, so what is it? What am I gonna, what am I doing with it? What is the purpose of it? How is it connected to what I'm doing right now? And then I get all the answers within myself, and then I know all the basically structural stuff that I need to in order to produce it. I'm a very powerful manifester, in the sense of like I can manifest things really quickly. and I don't hesitate to dare to really go there. I don't need time to think about it. I don't need to doubt it. I don't need to sit and think, oh, am I gonna do it or not? I'm just doing it. So in a way, like the energy that you feel, it's like almost like a wave, and I feel like it's surfing. It's like if you have that energy that you can surf and go into it, and sort of like it takes you there. But if you're not there and you're like not really ready on, it just goes away, and then you're done. It's not there. And so it can be just one of those ideas that just sitting there on the table somewhere parked, and sometimes it happens and that's fine, you know. You don't really manifest everything that comes to you, but some waves are so huge and so big that they bring also other people with it. So it's not necessarily just you, then it's like someone else, and this and that, and then it's collaboration, and then it's spaces, and then it's materials, and then it's I don't know, projects that are becoming from just an idea into something huge, you know. And that is, for me, again, it's a wave. I trust it. So but at the same time, when you said about creative process, I feel like I've got to do a couple of things, that building a frame within which frame I can be really free. But if there is no frame, if there is no sort of foundation, then nothing's going to happen, because we live in a material world, and matter, you know, is the last form of energy that comes from ideas and higher vibrations. So there is like almost like a level. How do you bring that from the air into earth? Like how do you channel that in? And so studying consciousness and elements really helped me to really realize, how do I actually work consciously on bringing creativity that actually does an impact and does something positive to the world. Because it's not only about my creative expression just because I like it. I'm in a phase where, okay, I really want to be conscious about what I'm creating and what impact and ripple effect it creates on the community, my friends, and the world in general.
So you would say, what I liked is like that you write and you make drawings. That's like the first thing, right? It's beautiful, like because it's so archaic. Also.
I can't do it on my phone. It's like I don't want to do these digital things in the beginning, because it just loses the soul. So I feel like I need hands, you know? And sometimes I can go in my studio and it's just about getting some fabrics and just playing with colors and starting to pull things together. I need my hands to be kind of in it, you know, tactile feeling. What about you?
Yeah, so mine varies a lot. I'm also doing so many different kinds of things. So what I do my process maybe depends on the thing. But I would say for a long time, I had a sort of a struggling sort of process for many years when I was younger. Like, I don't know, for many months before making something, I would be like writing and like and reading philosophy and things for months and months and months, and it was like this painful birth after 9 months or whatever. And I didn't really like that, actually. It wasn't so pleasurable, actually, but it was just what was happening to me at that moment, because I was still really exploring. I would say something that actually really inspired me, that was just a few years ago here. A friend of mine, Lala, some of you may know him, he started a really beautiful project during the lockdown here, right? So we had this huge lockdown, and he created a Facebook group where every day there was a certain theme, and you just had to make some art, a photograph or whatever. thousands of people got involved, people all over the world, incredible creativity. And this was really influential for me because it was about spontaneous art, not struggling for 9 months. It was like I only have one day to make this piece, and maybe I don't have the whole day because I also have to cook and clean and do all these other things, you know. But like, I'm gonna make an art piece in a very limited amount of time. So maybe I give myself 2 hours. I'm gonna make an art piece. And this started me on quite a journey and of kind of also viewing art as an experiment rather than things are finished products that have to be perfect or they have to be, you know, incredibly well thought out every time, etc. Just like actually everything I do now I try to see as an experiment, and it just helps me, like this feeling in my belly, like this lighter feeling. It helps me to flow much better. And that's actually Agroscopio somehow came from that, actually, because I started doing little experiments in the water. Like I was like, I don't care, I can do this.
I remember when you started, I loved it. When you started basically the synchronized swimming, I was like, oh my God, I love this. This is so cool.
And I was like, okay, I'll just make these tiny little videos that are, I literally called them experiments, you know, and I was trying to connect it with the water and connect with the kind of essence of the place. And then Tasia got in touch with me saying, oh, let's take this in a different direction, viewing it from above. With the drone. So
Great project.
But yeah, so sometimes I still have projects where I'm thinking them out for a while, but that for me that is like such a wonderful gift, this gift of spontaneity. And then some of the things, you know, some of the things may not be, they're just, maybe no one else wants to look at them. Maybe I don't even want to look at them later. But it was successful for me in the sense that, like, it was every time I learned something with every experiment. So
I like what you say, like maybe you don't want to see it by yourself, you know, like, but I think that's part of the process, like to create things that are maybe ugly, you know, and it's so important to do them, to like, I think a big part of art is actually like all the art that we don't show to anyone, you know. So you said it before, like that sometimes it's also like difficult to create art. We all know that because it's a path, there is no roadmap. You are creating the roadmap as an artist while you walk it. And I would like to know how you overcome creative blocks or like obstacles. Do you have strategies to stay motivated? Because that's a big part as an artist, the motivation. Where do you get the motivation from? How do you keep that going?
It's a great question, and it's so important actually, not just in art but in life. Again, it's a good metaphor because we do feel these moments and they are just inevitable and they happen, and sometimes the flow is so effortless and it's just amazing and you're feeling it, and sometimes you come into the studio or whatever it is and you're just like, what am I doing? What's happening here? I don't like it. It's all very interconnected, where you're at, how you're feeling, your emotions, your moods, what's happening in your life, the conversation you had with somebody. So it's like, again, I feel it really is connected to your everyday life. So for me, how I learned to overcome these blocks is that I have my rituals and my practice, which are almost like things that really keep me very centered, and I know that they work for me. Again, everyone has their own ways. For me, it's about coming in, and no matter how I'm feeling or what it is I'm doing, I'm there to start expressing it, whether it's on a paper with ink, or whether it is taking some fabrics or paper to tear apart, whatever. And the moment I start doing it, the moment I start creating it, then I feel it's coming, you know, it's going somewhere. So the thing is to dare to step in and say, it's okay, I'm feeling like this, and I'm not sure where I'm going and what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna do it. Don't worry. So the first, for me, thing that really works is, even if you don't feel it and you tell yourself stories, you still do it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as let's say with being mindful and filtering your thoughts, because otherwise, if you're just allowing all sorts of things in your head, you'll end up with pretty messy head. And so it's like, I don't do that anymore. So even if it's happening, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I'm still going with it. It's one of the things. Another thing that really works for me is connecting to my body. So whenever I'm feeling any block of any sort, I need to connect to my body, and I love to connect to my body through dance. So this is so powerful and so incredibly sensorial, at the same time emotional, at the same time you feel super present, that I feel after that anything I do is really already sort of like flowing for me. So whenever I don't feel the thing, I put the right music, whatever it is I want to listen to, depending on the vibe I'm getting, and that helps me hugely. So first to actually dance or do a movement practice to break that mental block, because we're so mental, we're constantly in the head. It's just like, how much can you be in this thoughts and the head? So for me, it's about disconnecting from that a second and just feeling present in the body. And then when I feel in the body, I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm feeling alive, I'm feeling me, and then let the rest unfold. So these two things is like being committed. So being committed to yourself, being committed to your path, being committed to your practice, whichever practice that is. Daring, no matter what, to be okay, not to be okay, and sometimes if you need help, external help, ask for it. So maybe it is about calling your friend and talking about whatever it is going on, or maybe it's about taking a workshop on some theme that somehow opens new doors, or listening to an amazing podcast, or reading a book, or whatever, watching a movie, or you know, and then
unblocking
again. So it's
like that.
It's constant Rubik's Cube movement. It's never really static, or movement is life, so you have to move with it.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you say like you're dedicated to it. You say like, okay, this is like, that's my creative time. I feel, because we are, as you said, like we have to cook, we have to this, we have to that, so it's good like to say, okay, this is my creative time, I do whatever comes. I like that.
Yeah, it's like you have
to schedule it.
You have a yoga class you go to. Well, you go to the studio, and that's your art time. Whether you feel it or you don't, you just do it.
Right.
It helps a lot.
What about you, Liz?
Yeah, I love all of those ideas. I also feel like just doing it and daring yourself to do it. I totally relate to both of those. I also feel like trying different things. So sometimes for me, it's going to my studio. To me, the biggest luxury, which I don't find so much, is actually just going to the studio with no idea and just saying like, just have a few hours there and and see what happens. That feels so nice.
Yeah, so nice.
And sometimes nothing comes, and that's okay too. But then also Yeah, for me, I'm basically using my hobbies as tools for art because I love them anyway. So like I would be stitching anyway. I might as well have it be a tool for my art. I would be swimming in the sea anyway. So so that's extremely motivating because I want to do these things anyway.
That's smart.
And then the swimming too, it has this added benefit that I'm getting, you know, healthy while doing it. So it's like I don't have to go to the gym then. I'm just doing my art. Also,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Love it.
But I love this idea about dancing. Like before the art making, I don't really do that, but I'm going to. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Try it.
Yeah.
So inspiring. So I know that you both like to use different mediums, whatever. So what mediums do you prefer and why?
Well, I will answer this question this way. I spent years when I was young trying to find a definition of who I was. And it was like, oh my God, I needed to put a label on myself, right? To say, okay, this is who I am, that's what I'm doing, that's my medium. And thank God that I broke free from that and realized that creativity and that kind of capacity to be connected to creativity has no medium or label or anything specific to it. So just by the mental capacity to remove that block from your perception of yourself and say, I'm unlimited in the possibilities I would like to work with, that already gave such an incredible sensation of freedom of saying, I can do whatever it is I want. And whatever it is that's calling me, that will be my medium. So instead of coming from here and sort of mentalizing about it and making decisions based on, these kind of things, I come from a place of what I'm feeling, what is calling me. And this way I discovered that the more connected I am to the present moment of feeling it, so to say, the more exploration and creativity is actually happening. That's why I call myself multidisciplinary artist, is because I don't have a specific discipline anymore, and I don't want to. I want to be free. This is my ultimate sort of space. So yes, I love certain parts more than others, I guess. But it's just a matter of experience or some sensorial things that we just really drawn to for different reasons. So I love textiles and I love painting. I also love to create experiences that are sensorial, that are experimental, and bringing in video, sound, smell, touch, experience into it. So that's how actually, in the end, I'm like, at the moment, I'm working as a digital artist these days, and I'm like, oh wow, how did I get to that? From being, it's like very far out. I'm actually now working on VR. I'm like, okay, so I'm like, cool. If that's what the waves, are kind of taking me, and I go with it. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know where I'm gonna end up, honestly. I have no idea, and I don't want to know. I love that. I want to trust the journey more than control it. I'm basically every day I'm trying to control less control, and more trust, and more imagination, more feelings.
Yeah, beautiful. I think it takes it out also of this linear way of thinking, right? Which is like our mind and our conditioning, and I feel it's also very female that like we do many things, so that's also like a part
Totally.
what comes in somehow. So I think it's a very modern aspect to have multi-disciplines.
And why not if you
Yeah,
can?
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the great thing about art, everything goes.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
every-
Always allowed.
your bathroom says it all, you know. It says art is everything. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
art saves the world.
And art saves the world.
What about you, Liz? You have also like so many disciplines.
All 100% multidisciplinary also.
Totally.
I've talked about it with you before that I started as a painter, as you did.
Yeah.
And so like I used to paint portraits a lot, and in art school I started out painting, and it was like hours on end, struggling again. That struggle I used to do. And I love to paint, but I realized a couple of things. Like, first of all, it was giving me crazy back pain, and I think, I think now, knowing, after having lived in Ibiza, for example, and learning about dance and knowing yoga and all these things, I maybe could have used those tools to help myself back then, but I didn't really have those tools yet. But also I was a little bit tired of just being completely alone in the studio and like always with myself and with my own, you know, everything. And so I wanted to connect with other people, wanted to be out connecting and collaborating. So, and luckily for me, I was in art school, and that's when I learned that you can do a million different disciplines. So that's when I kind of broke out of that for myself and started a lot of collaborations. Yeah. So I love working with other people. That's not a medium, I know, but it's I've been doing different mediums with different collaborations.
Yeah.
You know, I love working with people. I love working in the street with non-artists, as you said, just anyone in the street. And that's also, going back to your other question, extremely motivating for me, that when I'm working with someone, because then it's also like we're a team. And maybe that day, it's not really my best day. So I'll go out with the girls to the sea, because it's hard to find time to all work together and to find a day when there's no wind and there's no waves and there's no jellyfish. But, you know, the right day to shoot out in the sea. And maybe, you know, maybe I have my period, maybe I had a bad day, maybe I didn't sleep well. But it's like I get out there because I'm doing it for the team also.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is really motivating. And then we have the best time ever. So, but yeah, and then so a few different disciplines have sort of emerged as more than others. Yeah, like textiles, like swimming now, I call it.
Yeah.
I'm doing video art. It depends, as you said, like for me it depends on whatever is going to communicate my message best, or whatever I feel like doing in that moment. So just feeling free.
So,
Yeah.
and feeling free together, it's the best.
Yes. Yeah.
This
So
is like
Yeah.
the ultimate. Yeah.
It's funny because it leads directly to the next question, which is about this. Like, how does collaboration influence your art, and like what experiences did you have? Maybe you can.
Yeah. Again,
Go a bit
it's life is about having fun and enjoying being here, you know. So it's like my ultimate motivation on a daily basis is I have to have fun. I can't just do anything that is just like it's not fun for me. I can't do that anymore. I'm like, I'm sorry. If it's not fun, I'm not there. So whatever it is that makes your heart sing and feel feel these butterflies and all this fantastic emotions that happen actually in the interaction with others in such form that you get inspired and they get inspired, and then the whole energy rises, and then the whole thing becomes like a whoa, where are we going? So it's like you support and you get supported. It's like what you said, like sometimes when you even not feeling great, because we have all sorts of things going on in our life, and when we are too deep diving within ourselves, we cannot necessarily zoom out and see and feel light, because we're like with that stuff, whatever that is. But in collaboration, it's an incredible space of letting go of all of that stuff, whatever it is that you're going through, and diving into that much lighter space, which is co-creative space, and everyone brings their amazingness into it, and it just becomes one joyful, amazing experience. And sometimes maybe not joyful also.
I was just wondering.
No, that's what I want to say. There's always yin and yang, and there's always the polarity in collaboration. Sometimes there are challenges also, and then you're like, oh, okay, I've learned something here. Yeah, cool, that's great. So again, it's shifting. It's constantly shifting to where you want to go, I would say. But genuinely speaking, that's the reason I'm working with other women and representing other women and collaborating with other women, is because in collaboration we really create something much more meaningful and essentially bigger than ourselves. And this is really amazing, and yeah, that's what motivates me big time.
Yeah, it's almost like it's exponential growth, no?
Yeah,
like when we come together.
You feel bigger. You feel
exactly.
like through collaboration and through others, you feel huge. I feel like I'm like, whoa, I'm out in the universe. I'm expanded. Like I don't have a size anymore. The energy goes really up.
I can't really add anything to what you just said, both of you, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And for me, like, you have one idea, and then you have one idea, and then you have one idea, and together they're making this.
Yeah.
It's just something that you would never have come up with yourself. And just this exponentially growing kind of thing. So why not?
Yeah, and I think what is also beautiful is to see, like, to let go of your own idea, maybe, because like when you work by yourself, you decide everything how it goes, right? It's also almost like you're practicing a little bit, letting your ego go. Okay, maybe that idea is better, maybe you don't think so, but I think that's also what I really like to practice, when you collaborate, like
it is a letting go of ego too, because especially as artists, maybe we always think our idea is kind of the best.
Yes.
And then you do have to, it's a collaboration, you have to compromise sometimes even, so it's good for the ego.
And one more thing that came up when you said that, there is something that you by yourself will never be able to discover about yourself even.
Right.
This is something that I have to say that only through collaboration with another, with an interaction, with whatever it is that you're creating, only through that you can actually discover yourself in a different perception, different angle. That alone, forget it. You're stuck in one sort of way of thinking, or I don't know.
It's like being married.
No.
It's a mirror, right?
Here, the good thing is you don't have to be married. You can cheat.
Exactly.
It's legal. I can collaborate with any, but you know,
For any amount of time that you want. It's
absolutely.
okay.
This is, I love that.
That's beautiful.
This is legal stuff.
So what would you say, what role does the community play in your creative journey? Like us as the local scene, as this wonderful island, I think we all experience that it is a special creativity that is enhanced here for each one of us. So yeah, you want to share something on community?
Yeah. For my work, for my urban fabric project, community has been, that's all it's about. And it's, so I didn't explain what it is, but I'm embroidering maps and bringing them to public spaces, and then people can embroider their memories, their thoughts, experiences into the map, along with other people around it. So to get into discussion, to get into conversation, to get to know each other. And part of the reason I did it was actually to be a part of communities. So whenever I'm moving to a new place, I do this project because I want to know actually what does the community think about this playground, or what does the community, what are all the kind of, what's the history and the memories, what are all the things that happened on this playground, you know? Did someone scrape their knee and, you know, or did someone make a new friend, all these things, you know? So part of it was for me, and then also I realized how much people love to share their story with others and want to connect on that, and also that we need to connect on a physical level. I feel, because we're all connected on social media, blah blah blah, across the world, and that's really interesting too, but we're missing sometimes this physical connection, especially with people we don't know.
Yes.
Because it's really wonderful to connect with our friends, as we know, but then also to find connections with people who we might not even think we have anything in common with, but of course we do.
I think it's so brave, like she sits literally like in places, and yeah, I think it's very vulnerable, this work, what you do, and like, wow, it's very, very inspiring.
So yeah, community.
We are community, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know? And community is how this basically world was actually built. And, through being really part of something, part of a group, sense of belonging. Also, there are different kind of communities, obviously, but let's say Liz's work, what I love about it, it's so neutral that she invites not just the creative community. This is what's so great about what your project is so open to genuinely just people and connection, and I really appreciate that what you're doing is really allowing other people to share a moment with someone that you would never otherwise have a moment with. It's just not gonna happen. And this creates connections, possible friendships, possible meetings. Something happened, she said something, you felt something, you got inspired, I don't know, all of that. So it's amazing. In my work, the way I work with community is that I focus on a certain path, I would call it, which is women artists. So I'm creating and supporting women artists community. So it's maybe a little bit not so open, because let's say it's not everyone. I'm not including men. I'm working with men and all of that, but I feel like I really want to work with feminine energy, and the community that let's say the La Luna Gallery project is a community project. And also I really love when you see yourself, your art with others, how it reflects, how it starts to communicate, it just gives it a completely different strength and presence in the world than you on your own, just there, getting kind of lost actually.
Yeah, that
And
can
so
happen so quick.
It really is, and we know that together we are incredible, and especially when we're consciously together. So for sure, community.
That's beautiful. All right, so the next one is, I mean, we talked about it already, but I think it's beautiful also to think about like how would you say did your art evolve over the time? Like, also, because as you say, it's like life and art is like so intertwined, so it has a lot to do with your personal growth also and your expression basically. So yeah, how would you describe it maybe?
Just expansion, as I said before, just expansion into the anything can be art thing, which maybe I used to think only painting is art, and then, you know, now I feel like anything can be art. So I think I've followed that evolution.
I think it's also interesting because as you are like classical trained, let's call it like that, which means like you have like a certain mind frame. What is art? You know, like only painting, only, you know, like all this, yeah, which is great. Because I think talking about frames, like when we create this frame, so then we can open them and we can break out of them and say like, okay, it might be a frame that worked for me, but now I gotta swim and declare it as art.
You know, there is a famous saying, rules are there to be broken.
Yeah.
I think it says it all in many ways.
Yeah.
And until you actually can master something, then you can be free from it. Only when you master something, you can be free from it. What I mean by that is that if you don't go deep enough into something, whatever that is, you can't really experience it fully to be able to let it go.
Right.
And only by letting go of whatever it is you're experiencing, you can evolve and grow. Apropos evolution, apropos expansion, and sort of like, okay, to the next level. Because after you stuck all the time in the same the same loop, and you're still there, and you find yourself like, what am I doing? What's going on? So for me, for sure, this is a big one. So I know that, let's say, if I'm doing something, I always ask myself, did I master this? Where am I at with this? How deep is it for me, this thing? Can be a relationship, can be a dance, can be an art piece. Actually, let's say, just simple example that gives a good experience. A painting. When is the painting finished? When is it done? Well, you know when it's done, and you know when it's not done. So again, this mastering of knowing when it's done, then you can let it go, then you release, and then you can evolve to the next step and start a new cycle. Until you do that, you can't start a new cycle because you're still stuck in this thing. So evolution is really, it's just ongoing process of mastering and letting go of the experience that you're constantly creating. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And also it brings it back to what you said in the beginning, like the dance, because it's like, I feel the mastering is also the embodiment. It's not only like the knowledge, but really like the embodiment and like to be it, you know? Like the master is not only the teacher who said like, okay, you have to do it like that, but doesn't do it, you know? I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what lessons would you say have you learned through creating art?
Well, I just thought of something as you were saying that, and just in the fact that we should try everything, but and anything can be art, but you should go deep into the thing. So maybe not everything. Maybe you need to try a bunch of things first, you know, for a couple of years. Try everything, but then maybe choose a few things to go deeply in, one at a time, or all at the same time, but. We're going super deep. I saw Anouk here. She made me think of going deep into the artichoke. You know, she's explored the artichoke, everything about the artichoke. And you know, you learn so much more about whatever it is, your art practice or a particular object, like an artichoke or whatever it is. So taking a thing as far as you can take it. And maybe you let it go and maybe you don't. Maybe you keep doing it forever. But taking it super deep.
Yeah. Nice.
And also, as we know, which is really fascinating, the planet Earth, one of the most unexplored spaces on this planet is the deep ocean. We don't really know much about it, you know? And so I feel it's a representation of where we are at consciously with ourselves. It's like, okay, there is this majority of our planet covered by this incredible water, and there is so much there, and it's unbelievable. It's like another universe, and we're just starting to learn what's there, and we've been here for a long time. And so I feel that's a good metaphor of what you're saying, is that sometimes depends how deep you want to go, right? How deep you're gonna go. Maybe you're free diving just with your breath, you know, and that's enough. Or maybe you're gonna take a submarine, you know, and dedicate your whole life and do Jean Cousteau, you know, and just be in there and explore that depth. But generally speaking, this is the mastering in a way, and breaking through to that next level within yourself is definitely through depth. You can't stay on the surface only, because then you don't discover yourself.
Yeah. It's also interesting because they say like you need 10,000 hours to master something, and I think it's really interesting because I feel like once you've done that, for example with a painting, like for me it was that I was painting for hours, for years, and then I thought like, okay, that's it, and I just opened to everything. And I felt like, because I focused on one thing for such a long time, I could do everything, because then it's almost like you see the principles and you follow just the principles, you know, and it's not longer so painful in a way, you know. So
for sure. And everything in the end helps, you know, that's the thing. It depends how deep you go within anything. In the end, it's the same creative process, you know?
Yeah.
And helps the whole thing.
Yeah. So I want to switch a little bit from the creative process to another creative process, which is also part of being an artist. And that's actually selling your art. So I would like to know, do you have strategies, how you used to price your art? Are you able to price your art actually? Or are you afraid to price your art? Are you selling your art? Yeah.
I'm open to strategies, basically. I'm open to new strategies. I've always been very bad at selling anything, and my own work even more. So I wasn't even open to it until a couple of years ago, to actually sell my work. It was kind of like too much part of me, like it was like a baby connected to me by like an umbilical cord or something. But now I'm trying to let things go, and I would like to sell my work, and I'm trying different things. Putting prices on things is very hard, because for me, like, usually people wouldn't ever pay the price of all of the hours that actually led to something. In my case, so I don't know. I'm learning. I'm like a baby in that world. Teach me.
There's the seller.
Okay, yeah, no, I guess just because I came from a multi-diverse world experience, and I come from a space of also sales and business, and I was in the art world and industry on a high level, so I've seen it all and learned from the best and blah blah blah, all that. When I was in my 20s, and it gave me a lot of understanding, let's say, just at least the perception as an artist, to first start my path. Instead of starting as an artist, I actually started from the other side, because all of it in the end is together, it's not disconnected. So I started my path and journey from sales, from presentation, from curation, from standing in front of people and talking to very high profile art collectors and telling them about what are they looking at, and so on and so forth. So I had to basically learn all of this first, and then by representing others, and because that's where it is, it's the emotion. Because when you represent someone else, and I can talk about your work in the most like confident way, and I have no problem with that. Now the question came in is like, when you are talking about your work, because you identified with yourself, it's you, it came through you, and you have all of these attachments and so on, just human parts, right?
Next question is, let's stay a little bit with the selling. How do you leverage social media and online platforms for sales?
So I'll just say a few things, and that would be it. We have this incredible opportunity and technology these days that we are so interconnected, and 24/7 we have content available from anything you imagine, plus now there is AI and the whole thing. I mean, it's just insane, and it's another universe, and so through which we can connect, explore, learn, educate, blah blah blah. So if you're not using it, it's a waste. It's just where we are at, and it's just part of who we are. So now the question is how you use it, and what you want to actually take from it. This is another sort of question. So depending on where you are and how much time you want to spend on it, because it's also another part that this universe is extremely addictive and very time consuming, and you can kind of dive into this whole thing and stay there for hours, which is also quite ridiculous and a waste of your life. So for me, it's like when I do that, I'm very productive with it. I'm going there with a purpose. I know what I want to do. I want to, let's say, share something. I want to take something from it, but then I'm done with it and I switch it off and I'm going with my day. It's just my tip, because otherwise I learned from the past where I would stay on it for hours. I'm talking about and I have to, because all my work always been online.
Right.
So something that is, one needs to be quite aware that you need to do it in a very mindful way, and also know what it is you want to say. Because if you're just posting and it's just, needs to be directed to what you want to.
Yeah, with intention.
Yeah, intention. You need an intention with this.
Finding a balance is really important and super hard. But I've kind of kind of view, so I have so many Instagrams. It's part of this multidisciplinary thing because because I'm part of a lot of different collaborations, and then but I do see them also kind of as an art piece. So in that way, I kind of enjoy it.
Right.
I see them as an art piece.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's another medium. What role do art fairs and exhibition play in your sales strategy?
I don't have much of a strategy, like I said. Some exhibitions I'm a part of, things are not even for sale. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're kind of secretly for sale. I don't know. It's I do exhibitions because they're opportunities to develop a vision or an idea, and selling, as I said, is not really the objective, although it's great when you sell things too.
Yeah, I think it is also because, like, as an artist, you create because you have to create. It's like this urge. It's not like you think like, oh, I'm gonna paint that and then I sell it. It's more like you just almost need to do it, you know. And I think that's a little bit the opposite of the entrepreneur we talked the other time. Like, the entrepreneur is like thinking, okay, what is needed? I'm gonna create it, I sell it. And I think, this is like a new era also a little bit that we have through the social media, through all the opportunities that we can step out of this poor artist image, which is coming actually from the romantic idea, and like to see, okay, it can be different, right? It can follow a strategy. We can develop a strategy.
I like how you are encouraging this. You've encouraged this in my life, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah, you have a good example. For example, your books and the cards and the calendars and all of these things. I just want to bring that element to the question, is that art is everything again, but the thing is that if you want to sell your art, you need to be a little bit commercial, because if you're not commercial, then you're not going to sell. It's just simple. So unless you're super famous and your father is X, Y, and Z, and just because of your surname, people will buy your work, whether it's nice or not, that's also part of the game. But you can always create a beautiful range of, let's say, things that people would love to use every day and enjoy your art, which is not necessarily just a painting. It can be so many things, creating cards and creating magazines, books, and inspirational things that are not expensive, and it's not like a big investment for someone. And so through that, you can also obviously create an entry point of engagement with the world that will purchase your work. Because when we come into a phase where, like, okay, you made this piece and you don't know what to put on it, like you don't know how to even price it. By the way, like, your work is not really priced for the hours you spend, it's for your vision. Artists get paid for the vision, not for the time. And at the same time, it's an issue because most artists are really not confident, especially when they're not represented by professionals, and when they don't really have someone there with them saying, I believe in you. And so they need to believe in themselves. So the artists need to come in the mirror and say, I'm amazing, this is worth it, I'm gonna do this. Boom! That energy.
There we go.
And then the world is like, okay, if you say that,
what can I buy?
Okay, let's amazing. It's honestly, it's energy.
Yeah, it is, because that's also actually, I mean, selling is a transference of energy.
Totally.
And that's like what I think is so beautiful about it. If we see it like that, it's not this slimy, weird thing like, yeah, okay, I did this, and I worked like my whole life actually on this, and I can't price it because that would be 500 million.
Exactly. You know? Exactly.
And maybe right now nobody will pay it yet. All right, what is your relationship with A, money, and B, music?
Oh wow, nice combo.
It's so huge too.
Yes, very huge.
Wow. I'm not sure I can answer that in just a couple of minutes.
I'll start. Music is, for me, and I'm sure from a lot of us, is probably the highest art form that has ever been created by human beings, because it is just directly penetrates your soul, and it just brings in, you bring something that is just difficult to do in a different format. So music is super powerful. I would say if I would be not human, okay, and I'll just zoom out from planet Earth, and I'll just look at the planet Earth, and I will look, oh, these humans, oh, they are, what are they doing there? Ooh, let's have a look. So for me, I would say the best thing these guys really ever done is music, because you can hear it out there in the universe. It's a vibration that transmits, and I mean, so I think it's the greatest thing that ever been created is music, for sure. Money is energy, and it's a system that human created in order to exchange, I guess, their energy. So I really have a healthy relationship with money, and I don't see it as a bad thing at all. At the same time, I'm not obsessed about it. I don't have like an issue with money at all, in the sense I'm talking about artists. So it's like you have to have a healthy relationship with that energy. Otherwise, that's it. This is the thing. You never step that part, Yeah.
With money, it's an ever-evolving relationship I have with it, because I feel like it doesn't just come naturally. Like money is this artificial thing, that this whole system that was created.
Exactly.
And I think I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest. Music, I've always been jealous, to be honest, of musicians, because as much as a painting can touch you, or any kind of art piece, I feel like nothing enters into you like music.
Nothing.
So
Yeah.
but I can't sing or play any instrument, but I dance. We can dance.
We can dance.
Yeah, we will do that also after this. So I would like to close with a question that's also like twofold. A little bit like, what are your biggest fears or concerns, or what excites you about your career in the upcoming years? Like, if you look like, okay, the next 10 years, do you have like, concerns or fears about it? And then actually, no
fears. I'm sorry. No, that's just something that I let go of a while ago. I'm like, no, because if I will allow any of that, I mean, where am I gonna go? So I have zero fears. I am in full trust and just enjoying the ride, really. That's it.
I have plenty of fears.
I love you, Liz. Come over. Rub some fearlessness.
But I would say with art, I don't really have any fear. No.
Yeah.
That's like the one place where I don't. I have fear with everything else. Not everything. It's not like but
fear spiders.
I'm human. So I'm okay
phobias.
with spiders, actually.
Mice? What is it? Snake?
No, I like all the creepy crawly things.
Okay.
But just life, I'm afraid of things, you know.
Like what?
I'm human.
You want to say something, or you
No,
want to
not
keep your
really.
fears?
No, just to let you know, I have fears.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but in my art, actually, no.
Okay, I love
I
that.
don't think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the last thing is, we are like the year is almost over. It was the year of the dragon. The year of the snake is waiting. These are like two very powerful years where I feel a lot of transformation is happening, where a lot of things are speeding up as we feel it and see it and experience it. So what scares you about 2025 and what excites you?
As I said, I'm not scared. I'm embracing everything. Bring on the snake, the whole thing. I'm ready. Actually, snake is one of my spiritual animals, and I had a very strong encounter with the snake in my first ayahuasca ceremony I did earlier, a year ago. And so I'm really happy about the snake year.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about this. Yeah.
I'm curious too. I don't know what the year of the snake means, but I can imagine like taking the skin off.
Exactly.
You know, having
Transformation.
Exactly,
Yeah.
transformation. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and the beauty of the snake is also, I don't know if all the snakes do, but some, they're not only shedding the skin, but they're even shedding like the skin of their eyes. So it's like something
Totally.
like a complete new view and vision.
It's exciting.
Yeah, me too. All right, this was beautiful. I don't know if anyone has like maybe a question left. You're all satisfied?
We can always just keep talking the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know. This is
But I mean,
endless.
not in this format.
Yeah.
We'll be.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to close it now. Thank you for sharing with us, and
Thank you. Amazing questions.
Yeah, really. Thank you.
And also, I think your initiative of creating a space of sharing is really awesome, and I'm sure it will evolve and we'll see more. And yeah,
I can't wait to see more of the space.
yes, thank you.
thank you.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.